Don't play with powers you don't understand. Lisa's grandmother scolds her for scratching a symbol into her textbook for good luck. Lisa apologizes for snooping through her things. She just wanted to know more about the old village town and the stories of witches and cannibals that were burned alive or chased out. She heard her mother say her grandmother had come across several books written in an unknown language with strange symbols.
He moves through the death and decay of the void. He doesn't remember his name. Everything's a blur. He feels pain in his stomach, in his arms, in his veins. He needs to find one of those flowers. The nectar, the sweet serum that gives strength. Strength for what? He remembers. The killers. Experimenting on them. Why? Why was he experimenting on them? He doesn't remember. He caused a lot of suffering, but he doesn't feel remorse. He doesn't even know if he should feel remorse. He doesn't feel anything but an ache in the pit of his stomach for power. He has flashes of the doctor, his screams, his agony, turning the tables on him, experimenting on him like he had done with so many others. Where? Not here. Somewhere else. Another world. All of these survivors, marooned from other worlds. How does he know this? He doesn't remember. He remembers the experiments. What was he trying to understand? The nectar? The serum? The right dose? The right dose. To use without hurting himself. Too late. Claudette is 7 years old and feels alone. Very alone. Yes, her parents love her. Yes, they want the world for her, but the world doesn't want her. Or at least that's what Claudette believes. She just wants to fit in. Fit in at school, fit in with her cousins, fit in with her teammates on the soccer pitch. But fitting in isn't as simple as being like others. She's different, and she knows it. She feels slow, unresponsive, not quick enough to understand her teacher or keep up with her class. The librarian calls her addle-minded. When she talks, she stutters. Sometimes she loses her breath and has trouble recognizing when she's talking too loudly. But most of all, her teacher embarrasses her. Says she's in the clouds, always in the clouds. Get out of the clouds, Claudette. But she can't help it. She's exploring massive gardens and colorful bugs on strange new worlds. Claudette feels things more than others, much more. Like the shame of not being invited to any birthday parties. Not one party. Every day her parents ask her who she played with at lunch, and every day she lowers her chin and tells them that she doesn't want to talk. Her parents ask her teacher, and her teacher tells them she likes to play alone. Not so much play, more like collect and observe things, flowers, weeds, beetles, worms, rocks. Some kids are just loners. Every day her parents ask her about her friends, and every day the shame returns. They want her to have friends. More than that, they want a list of names for her birthday. But she doesn't have a list of names. She doesn't even have one name. Claudette observes a beetle while her classmates chase one another around the playground. She wants to play, but no one wants to be around her. She doesn't want to think about it. Thinking about it hurts. Thinking about it reminds her she will disappoint her mother again. Her mother just wants her to have a friend, but making a friend isn't easy. Not for Claudette. And she wishes more than anything that it was as easy for her as it was for others. She wishes she had a friend to make her parents worry less. Maybe they would even be proud. Maybe she should give up her passion for bugs and flowers. Maybe that would help. Maybe then she would be like other kids. But the need to explore and collect is strong. It is not beyond her. It is her. Evan is 14 years old, and he knows something his father doesn't. The thought thrills him, amazes him, scares him. There is something his father doesn't know. Something the owner of one of the most profitable mines in all of Seattle doesn't know. His father manages his workers with an iron fist. No, not an iron fist. Brass knuckles. He calls them maggots, groveling maggots. He's about to discover he's wrong. They're more than maggots, much more. They're men, and men working together can bring change. One of these men is inspiring others to take their lives back. If they can stand together, maybe, just maybe, they can bring in the Union. With the Union, they'll have rights. More than rights, they'll have dignity, freedom, time to spend with their friends, time to spend with their family, time to be human. Evan knows something his father doesn't know, and he feels empowered. Evan's father thrusts him to the ground, calls him weak, tells him he's got to stop being so nice to the maggots, stop talking to them, stop helping them, keep them in line, break them, let them know who's boss. If you give them an inch, they'll take a yard. They're just using you. Evan knows better than to say anything. His father punched and broke his jaw last year when he showed weakness. This year, he'd rather not sip dinner through a straw. This year, he holds back, bites his tongue. He wants to tell his father about the Union, but doesn't. He feels ashamed, torn between his loyalty for his father and his friends. Bob, Tom, Jim, they deserve more. Evan enjoys creating something from nothing. He's not an artist, but he enjoys sketching, and he hides his sketches from his father. His father forbids sketching. Sketching is for weaklings, vagabonds, gypsies. He wants Evan to do worthy things. He drags Evan to his most profitable mine. He teaches him how to manage maggots. He's hands-on, very hands-on, abusive, violent, brutal. The key is to break them, break their will, break their spirit. Once broken, a human is a tool that can be wielded to do anything. Broken. It's what he did to his mother. It's what he's doing to him. But Evan still sketches. Sketching is defiance. Evan watches his father yell at one of his workers. He's sick. He wants to leave, but he's not allowed. He leaves. He loses his job. Evan feels for the man, wishes he could do something for him. He wants to tell him things are going to change. The Union is coming. The Union is coming, and with it a good wage and fair working hours. But the man's lungs are black and his stomach is rot. Too much stress, too much acid, not enough sleep. He collapses. His father doesn't care, kicks him in the gut. Tells Evan to drag him out of the mine. Evan drags him out. For a moment, he feels disgusted at the man's weakness and wants to put this maggot out of its misery. He's becoming his father, and he's not sure if that's a bad thing. Evan's father forces him to set a bear trap in a dark forest. His father's obsessed with hunting bears, always has been, always will be. He tells him the story, always the same story. He doesn't want to hear it, but he will. His father was hunting with his brother when they ran into a grizzly bear. The bear tore his uncle's arm off and bit into his head. Evan's father jumped on the grizzly's back, stabbed the bear endlessly, killed the bear, ripped open its stomach to retrieve his brother's head, carried his brother's mutilated body 10 miles to their family estate. This time it's 10 miles, last time it was 5, his father grins. The story is changing with every telling. Sometimes Evan wonders if there even was a bear. Evan's inspired in a way he's never been before. Furiously, he sketches his father in a bear suit killing his uncle. He never met his uncle, but he's seen pictures. His uncle was a philanthropist, a bleeding heart, disloyal. He would have run the business into the ground with proper wages and all that socialist crap. That's why he had to go. Evan doesn't have proof, but he knows. Deep down he knows his father murdered his uncle. Tied him up, left him for a bear. There was no knife, no fight, no honor. Just a terrible death for a disloyal worm. Evan suspects all this, and yet he doesn't feel disgusted or ashamed. He feels something else. Something he's trying not to feel. Something he won't admit to himself. Evan looms over his father's bed and watches him sleep. He hates and loves him at the same time. Sometimes he wonders what his life would be like without him. He owes him so much, and yet he's miserable and alone. He raises a massive gray stone and holds it there for a long minute that feels like forever. He could be free, truly free. But he can't, not like this. He could free himself in other ways. Accidents happen, hunting accidents, mining accidents. He could lure him into the bowels of the mine and ignite a stick of dynamite. No way he'd survive. But despite it all, Evan can't do it. His love is bigger than his hate. He owes him too much. Evan sketches his father in a bear suit drowning his mother. He never believed his father's story. Something didn't feel right. His eyes, his grin, his lack of empathy. She was pulled into a current and never seen again. His mother. She was beautiful. Blonde hair, blue eyes, fun, full of compassion. His opposite. She didn't just go out to swim one morning and never come back. She was getting in his way, and no one gets in his way. Not even family. Especially not family. Obedience or death. Evan's tired of obedience. Yes, he's loyal to his father, but he's also loyal to his friends. They talk to him, encourage him, think he's a great artist. He has friends. He's never really had a friend. His father wouldn't allow it. Waste of time. They're using you. Yes, he's loyal to his father, but he's also loyal to his friends. They deserve better.
Arcus 1. I would start at the beginning, but I don't know when that was or how long ago I was banished to this prison. What I know is I've been observing and studying the inner workings of this entity that had once been, well, an obsession. How ironic that I should be sentenced to live out the rest of my days in the very thing I sought to destroy. An obsession turned prison, as all obsessions are, I suppose. Arcus 54. The atmosphere of the realms is dark and grim, to say the least, but also ever-changing. I've already remarked that the atmosphere is misty, even foggy at times, and that this fog feels alive. It seems to contain swirls and streams of memories or imprints of beings from multiple Terra worlds. It is as if the entity absorbs all the psychic energy and thoughts of beings it snatches as it journeys through the endless cosmos. I've used the Oris to study the black fog, and have come to 3 observations that will prove invaluable to finding a way home. First, the fog is rich in auric particles, leading me to believe this dimension is more conscious than it is material. Second, I should be able to manifest anything I am able to pull from rifts in the fog, using techniques passed down from my family. Third, the entity is far more ancient than we ever suspected back home, and most of our theories and conjectures were wrong. The rich presence of auric particles and cells suggest it is one of the original ones, and ancient. Arcus 142. The entity is the cosmic embodiment of evil. Back home, we witnessed how its very presence turns worlds inside out, how it seems to remove or extinguish any sense of empathy or compassion within communities, how it brings people to the brink of madness and, well, pushes them in. Now I understand. It does all this in order to rip victims from their lives and have them play out an endless trial of terror that it presumably needs for its own survival. And there, perhaps, lies the key to its destruction, if an ancient can be destroyed at all. End the trials. Destroy its ability to sap dark nectar from victims like a cruel parasite feeding from a flower. At least the Archives affords me a better understanding of the entity, why it moves from universe to universe, picking victims off and devouring worlds as though at a cosmic buffet. What I have yet to conclude is whether it is attracted to worlds that are brimming with darkness and madness, or if it is in fact the catalyst of such darkness and madness.
Jane needs a job. She has a job. She works as a waitress at a local diner. She needs another kind of job, a role, a part, something. Anything to let her know she's on the right path. Anything to let her know she deserves more than a school variety show. Acting is a fool's pursuit, 1 in a billion, her father says. Her grandfather agrees but adds, those who have the courage to follow their dreams have a 99% chance of being that 1 in a billion. Have courage. Courage will put the odds in your favor. Jane loves her grandfather and wants to make him proud. Wants to show him he's right. I'll be that 1 in a billion.
Imbecile.
That's what he calls Professor Blanchard. The imbecile is choosing 2 students to lead a research assignment in an abandoned farmhouse. Carter knows he's going to be selected. He's the best in the neuroscience program, the best at the Leary. The Leary. It could only be the Leary. The Leary or the Allen. 2 institutions with a history of working with the government to push the limits of psychology beyond the code. Not beyond the code, despite the code. The papers coming out of the Allen amazed him, captured him, inspired him. Had he been Canadian, it would have been the Allen, or what many called Ravenscrag. The experiments they conducted were brilliant, cutting edge, mind-shattering. He wishes he were a student in the 50s studying under Lord Crag, the nickname patients gave the genius at Ravenscrag. Lord Crag returned from the trials with ideas, not cautionary tales, not disgust like the other bleeding hearts who condemned the doctors who would anyway be smuggled into his country and be given the highest positions in government in exchange for their discoveries. Lord Crag took the experiments he had heard about to the next level, and Carter hopes to do the same. But not with this professor, not with Blanchard, Dr. Bleeding Heart Blanchard. He has no idea what real power is. Real power is freedom. True freedom. Freedom beyond the limits of ethics and morality. Carter's leading the research assignment with another peer. The challenge? Secure the secret word through the good doctor, bad doctor interrogation technique put forward by some other bleeding heart imbecile at some other institution. He's bad doctor with a code, a list of do's and don'ts the imbecile gave him. Very limiting, too limiting, self-limiting even. How is he supposed to secure anything with these limits? Surely he realizes how futile the experiment is with this code. Nevertheless, he tries. He shouts at a fellow student sitting across the table from him. Shouts? Big deal. Tell me or I'll... Shout again. The student doesn't take him seriously. He's play-acting fear. It's all make-believe for him. I should smash his skull and yank the secret word out of his substandard mediocre brain. Second day, and nothing. Carter's frustrated, really frustrated. At least they're tied up, all 7 of them, but it's still not enough. They need to take the interrogation to the next level, deprive them of food and water. They'll talk. When their cells begin to self-cannibalize, they'll talk. Better yet, he wants to deprive them of sleep. Sleep deprivation. Removes masks, lowers guards, makes prisoners talk for the promise of a few minutes of sleep. The 7 prisoners stare at him. They know they're safe. He can see it in their eyes. Limits. No one got anywhere respecting limits. He despises his colleague, Good Doctor. He'd have the secret by now had he been working alone and without a code.